Peace and greetings. This is Nicole Deggins of Sista Midwife Productions. It's April, and April is Cesarean Awareness Month. As you know, a cesarean section is an incision in a mom's abdomen to help her deliver her baby. It's an operative delivery. Across the country, 1 in 3 women, 30% of women, give birth by cesarean section. Here in Louisiana, where I live, 40% of women give birth by cesarean section. But it doesn't matter what part of the country you're in, we can all agree that in our country, the cesarean section rate is far too high. Now, when there's a medical indication, an emergency for mom or baby, a cesarean section can be a life-saving procedure. And when that's the case, we're happy to have them. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. In fact, one of the #1 reasons that women have cesarean sections is simply impatience. Now, what do I mean by impatience? You see, there's this diagnosis called failure to progress. Failure to progress happens when the physician checks a mom and finds that the mom is maybe 4 centimeters. And then they come back 2 hours later and the mom is still 4 centimeters. 4 centimeters in the old way was said to be active labor. And if you haven't dilated fast enough, once you get to active labor, and fast enough is all relative. So if you haven't dilated fast enough in what we call active labor, the physician will decide that the woman is failure to progress, she's not going to dilate fast enough, and he does a C-section for her. Now, what we know and what the new research is showing us is that 4 centimeters is not active labor. Now we're being told that 6 centimeters is active labor. You heard me correct. 6 is the new 4. And so what ACOG released in a new statement very recently, and ACOG is the American Congress of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and they basically put out the rules and regulations and guidelines for obstetricians across the country. So at any rate, they put out a statement recently that says 6 centimeters is the new 4, that a mom can wait safely and continue to try to labor until she dilates at least 6 centimeters before she is diagnosed with failure to progress. Now, I want you to have this information so that if you're in the hospital and you're laboring and you're checked a few times and you're 4 or 5 centimeters and they want to give you the diagnosis of failure to progress, remind them that if your baby is okay and if you're okay, ACOG says it is safe to wait longer to give your body an opportunity to move forward in natural labor to a vaginal delivery before they decide to do a C-section. Now, impatience, that's not the only reason why we have too many cesarean sections. Another problem is that we do far too many interventions. Inductions as an example. In fact, a woman who's having her first-time baby, a baby for the first time, when she's induced without a medical indication with a closed cervix, she doubles her risk of having a cesarean section. Inductions, epidurals, medications like Pitocin and Cytotec, all of these different things independently and collectively increase a woman's risk for a cesarean section. So many women consent to these interventions without a real understanding of their dangers and their side effects, and so many of them don't understand that they have a right to informed refusal, that they have a right to delay or to completely decline these procedures. And so what I want to encourage all of you to do is, if you're questioning some of these procedures from your provider, you want to ask them, is there a reason for me to be concerned? And can I have more time to think about it? Usually if you ask those 2 questions, you can give yourself an opportunity to think before you consent to some of these procedures. Now, if you want to know more about these sorts of things, interventions and hospital practices, I want to invite you to join me. April 10th, I'm going to be continuing my series called The Birth Plan Myth Extended. The second part of the series is called Interventions 101. We're going to talk about why these interventions happen, what they are, what you can do to minimize the risks when they become necessary. I want to invite you to check out my website, thebirthplanmyth.com, and you can learn more about Sista Midwife Productions by going to sistamidwife.com. Either way, I want you to join me so that you can learn more about these hospital interventions so that you can move forward to have a phenomenal birth experience and so that I can help you birth something beautiful.